Big week for Impact Wrestling. I will start by introducing. I have Scott Demore with me right now. We're going to be talking about Slammiversary weekend, everything on the card, everything that might be on the card. There's a lot of surprises, a lot of speculation going on. First things first, what can fans expect from this event? We got the news a couple weeks ago that fans are going to be invited back, and while it's going to look similar to the past year's shows, it's in the same venue. It's obviously going to be different with having a live crowd there. What are you guys doing differently to prepare for having your first crowd back in over a year?
Well, first and foremost, from top to bottom, from every talent on the roster to every production person, we're stoked to have fans back in the Impact Zone. Wrestling is something that where fans are so much a part of the show and the action, not just the emotion, but they're just part of it is seeing the fans' reactions, part of the overall presentation. So we're excited for that. We're excited for our athletes to be able to go out there and be able to get that instant gratification, that instant feedback from the crowd when they're out there doing their thing. So it's been a long time coming. My hat's off to everybody, our company and across the wrestling industry that diligently has worked through this pandemic era. And, now it's just to get back out there, to have fans there, starting this Saturday for Slammiversary. Like I'm stoked and it's exciting. We felt so touched that, the fans were as excited as we were, obviously, because the tickets sold out in a matter of minutes. And it's going to be a great show. And the people that are there in the Impact Zone, the people that tune in live on Saturday night, whether it's through their cable or satellite providers or streaming through Fight TV, I think, I guarantee we're going to give them 3 hours of world-class wrestling action. Like you look at it, this card top to bottom is stacked. And you have such an unbelievable array of different athletes, right? But this is, I don't think there's any two matches on this card that are alike. As you sit there and you match make and you put things together, like we're featuring so many different styles of matches and athletes that I think you're going to get a wide array of different things. It's Jimmy Hart used to say, wrestling when it's done right is like the circus. If you don't like the acrobats, you like the clowns. If you don't like the clowns, you like the lion tamer. And we've got all of that. We are a full 3-ring circus on Saturday. And then on top of it, we've got what I think are some really cool moments that people are going to sit back, look at, and go, oh, wow, like I did not see that coming, and wrestling fans like to speculate. And that's one of the great things they do. And they're doing that already. And I think that this Saturday night, I feel very strongly somebody plucks down their $40, somebody supports us, but with both their monetary investment and equally as important, their investment of time that they put into going on this journey with us. I think we're rewarding them with unbelievable action, a stacked card top to bottom, and a few moments that just make you go, holy beep. And that's when that happens, that's wrestling. That's wrestling done right. And that's those magical moments we all look for. And we've worked very hard as a team here to go out there and put our best foot forward this Saturday and do everything we can to provide the absolute best entertainment out there for Impact Wrestling fans.
Yeah, and I will certainly agree with you on the variety that the card has. But I actually wanted to call some attention to one match that isn't on there yet, and he's been pretty vocal about it. But Matt Cardona says he's been begging you for a match with Brian Myers. He's back on TV. His orbital injury is healed. Why haven't you just signed that match already? Like, why isn't that match on this card yet?
Well, I guess, Bill, because this is the wrestling business. And sometimes it's a lot more fun to do something when the cameras are rolling. And we've got a show rolling up. We got one more Impact before Slammiversary. And Matt's hit me up. He's texted me, right? Like, what is Matt Cardona's been such a great addition to this roster, just the energy he brings and the talent he brings. He hit me up and I said, like, I've heard everything you've said, and I got you and we'll be talking. So, working on some things, going to have a chat with Matt, but he's made it very clear he wants his hands on Brian Myers. So, we like to as much as we can, you know, give people an opportunity to do what they want. Those two guys have a long history, right? I mean, those two guys from walking into wrestling school, their first day together, Brian Myers and Matt Cardona have a long storied history, there from their beginnings, and all through their time with WWE and everything else, their ups, their downs, and hey, nothing better than putting two, longtime best friends that maybe aren't on the same page and have a little bit of a beef, putting them through the ropes, getting them in that ring, and letting them beat the crap out of each other. So, I say stay tuned.
All right, fair enough. Like you said, there's another final episode before we get to Slammiversary. I want to change course a little bit. The main event of the show, Kenny Omega defends against Sami Callihan, and there's been so much said about Kenny, what he's brought to Impact, what he's brought to AEW, but on the flip side of it, you've had issues with Sami. He's, a little bit of an abrasive personality, if you want to put it that way, but he's still on your team at the end of the day. He's Impact, and it's not like Kenny's holding the title hostage. He's been a very good champion. You and Tony Khan have been very clear about he is working for Impact right now, representing the company, but without naming, without asking you who you're picking in the match, do you feel like you're pulling one or the other just because you have that sort of dynamic where you had issues with one, but the other guy is doing a pretty good job as champion?
Yeah, I mean, look, going into Rebellion, in the title versus title match with Kenny Omega and Rich Swann, I think I was pretty clear. I want Rich is carrying that Impact title. He's our champion. Want to see him come out on top, but acknowledge from the very beginning, Kenny Omega is one of the very best the sport has ever seen. And certainly, arguably, the very best professional wrestler on the planet right now, and arguably for sure, at the very least, one of the best or the best, most athletic and amazing wrestler to ever walk the planet. So I knew going in there when we signed that match, there was a chance that Kenny walked out as the Impact World Champion. Rich, unbelievable display, amazing performance. Kenny was the better man that day. I personally have never had a problem with Kenny Omega representing Impact as our world's champion, because he is, if not the best, he's right there. And I've known Kenny, right? We were together in Japan. I had a cup of coffee hanging with the boys in the Bullet Club, and Kenny was there, and I saw it. He's when you strip back all of the BS and all of the posturing and everything else, Kenny is a driven athlete who wants to be the very best. And I knew that if Kenny Omega was the Impact World Champion, he was going to do that proudly, and he was going to do that. He takes great, great pride in his going out there and being the best, and he takes great pride in being a champion. And I knew that I would have to put up with nonstop, nonsense from my still good buddy, even though he's not my coworker, Don Callis. I knew that he would be running his mouth and playing his games. I knew that Kenny can be a lot to handle sometimes, but I also knew he'd show up and he'd deliver, and he'd be a true world's champion, and he has been that. So I have no issue with Kenny being the world champion. However, that seems to be in the minority when you go around the Impact Wrestling locker room and you go around the Impact Wrestling office. And there's definitely a sentiment right now that people, and the term that people keep using is bring the title home. And if you ever would have asked me, the uniting force where everybody starts putting their differences aside and comes together, for a common goal, if you ever told me the person that this roster and this company was going to unite behind was Sami Callihan, I would have said you're completely insane. Because let's be very clear: if I have to go have dinner with Kenny or Sami, I'll go with Kenny. If I have to travel with one of the two of them, I'll go with Kenny. Having said that, Sami Callihan, for all of the issues he causes, and there's many, the one thing and the one reason why I will always have respect, and appreciation for Sami is, you talk about a guy who came to Impact Wrestling. Let's be honest, Bill, at a time when things maybe, weren't the best they've ever been. And from the second that he stepped foot in an Impact Wrestling ring, he has worn the Impact, logo like a badge of honor. He has, as the term is, he's carried the flag and he's flown it high. And he has constantly been 100% unapologetically Impact. Even on the days when, he's doing something dastardly and causing a ruckus or whatever he's going to do, just being Sami Callihan. He does it, with him being at Impact guy. And you cut Sami Callihan, when he bleeds red, but he also bleeds Impact. And, I think the cool thing about this Saturday's main event is Kenny Omega, I think, like I said, arguably, and for my money, may well be the best wrestler in the world right now. Deserving world's champion, 5, 6, 7-star matches, the classics he's had at the Tokyo Dome and the Sumo Arena and everywhere else around the world at this point. His resume is so great. I think Kenny Omega, probably is the best professional wrestler in the entire world at this moment. And that's why he's the Impact World's Champion, the AEW World's Champion, the AAA Mega Champion, and still the TNA World's Champion. He's the best, but he's not going in to have a wrestling match. Like Kenny is stepping in the ring with Sami Callihan. This isn't catch as catch can. Sami Callihan is going to come at him in ways that Kenny Omega can't prepare for. Because how do you prepare for a strategy when I honestly think, and Sami is much more cerebral than he gets credit for, but there's also that unpredictability. I think Sami comes in thinking, maybe I'll do this, this, and this. And in the emotion of it, he gets caught up and he does whatever the hell comes to mind. So Kenny Omega is not going in there to have a professional wrestling match. He's going in there to have a knockdown, drag-out Donnybrook fight with one of the baddest dudes on the planet, in Sami Callihan. You look at Sami Callihan and just physically, he's not the most intimidating. Like he's not Moose. He's not 6'6". He's not 280 pounds. But the second that bell rings, he's as tenacious and vicious as there is. And if you look in those eyes, you're looking in the eyes of somebody who's not afraid to do whatever it takes. Sami Callihan is focused and obsessed with being remembered. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be remembered. And right now, what he's focused on is being remembered for going out there, destroying Kenny Omega, getting his revenge on Don Callis for the many years of problems they've had, and restoring order and Impact. So I think the stage is set for an amazing main event this Saturday at Slammiversary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will certainly agree. And also, I have firsthand seen Sami do some despicable things, including using lemon juice on paper cuts. So that's certainly a match to look forward to. One of the other big selling points about the event is Impact's world changing again. Obviously, it's a part of business. Unfortunate for the people, but there's a positive in people looking forward to who shows up and whether it happens or not. You're not promising anything specific other than there's going to be surprises, and it's mostly fan speculation. It's still exciting, but and this kind of goes with the quote that Britt Baker confronted you that is going around right now. It's a nice soundbite, but how often does that sort of dialogue happen? Like the forbidden door amplifies that, but is that kind of fun just to kind of be a fly on the wall and see what people are talking about and whether it matches up with what you're actually planning, or just kind of, hey, maybe I'll use that for the future. Maybe I'll see if they're available.
Yeah. Look, everybody who's a wrestling fan loves to sit there and speculate about what if this happened, and that's a lot of the fun of being a wrestling fan. And then part of being, in the position I am is sitting there and trying to think of how we give those wow moments, those holy bleep moments where it's like I did not expect that. And I think last year we did an unbelievable job of delivering on a pretty big promise. This year, I think we have such a stacked show. I think there's so much stake to the card when you go from top to bottom that I think if there is nothing going on in this show, we're delivering an unbelievable night of wrestling action. But that's not enough. You know, like I think anyone who tunes in, puts down $40, buys the pay-per-view, you know, whether through the cable or satellite provider, whether through Fight TV, the card itself that's there is worth $40 and more. And we got a roster that's ready to go out there and just totally just like kill it out there. They're all stoked to go out there and perform. And the baby dollars, but now let's start giving, let's start sprinkling on top of there these things. Deonna Purrazzo's surprise opponent for the Knockouts title match. A few other little things we're working on here and there, so they'll spice things up. Like wrestling fans love to be surprised. They love the unexpected, and I think we have some really cool things planned for this Saturday. So I'm very confident if somebody comes in, you know, supports us with both their money and equally as important, their time and sitting down and going on this journey Saturday night with us for the Slammiversary, they're going to be rewarded with 3 hours of amazing wrestling. They're going to be rewarded with some really emotional moments, and they're going to be rewarded with some, oh, damn, like that I did not see come. So I think we've got a great mix going into this Saturday. I think fans that come in there are going to really enjoy going along for the ride. We've taken great pride in the last few years of going out there and delivering, right? Because the biggest thing we heard when at the start of the Anthem era was, you know, it's almost like fans saying, you know, Impact's pulled the football away from us, you know, when we went to kick it too many times, to make the old Charlie Brown reference. So we wanted to make sure we delivered, and we wanted to make sure we over-delivered. And we've gone out there in consistency and trying to go out there and putting out a great product week in and week out, and then going out there and making our pay-per-views special. Because when I was growing up a wrestling fan, and probably you, Bill, like pay-per-views were special. Then it got to the point where there were so many of them, you know, like it's hard for them all to be special. But like our pay-per-views, like I think our TV show, you know, kicks tail every single week. I think that the Impact Plus app is, you know, and the specials there, and have featured some of the most amazing wrestling out there, you know, on a monthly basis. But our big four, our Hard to Kill, Rebellion, Slammiversary, BFG, like they have to deliver, you know, and they deliver and some. And we take pride in that. And like I said it, and I'll repeat it one more time. Wrestling fans that give us that faith, which is, you know, the hardest thing to get from a wrestling fan, and they have that trust with us, and they invest in us with their money and with their time, they're going to walk away feeling like they were repaid and rewarded, you know, exponentially this Saturday night Slammiversary.
Yeah, absolutely. Fans can certainly look forward to a stacked card. Plenty of surprises. I'm sure there's going to be many layers to all of what's going on. But in closing, I actually wanted to ask another announcement that was just made this week. You're staying in Nashville for the August tapings. You're going to have 3 nights of tapings. Any news on how those tapings might be different than this weekend as far as capacity, or are you guys looking at expanding as you go month to month, like maybe in the fall? Are you going to be doing any touring, or, you know, any light you can shed on how you plan to expand the television taping experience for fans?
Yeah, Bill, and that's a great question. And I mean, I know the wrestling fans out there and they're speculating. We've always said with Anthem that we're going to be a little cautious. We're going to take our time. Like, we're not going to be the ones to go out there and jump. The time is now to get fans back in the Impact Zone. We're doing that this week, starting the Slammiversary, and then, you know, with our televisions, on Sunday the 18th and Monday the 19th. And I think a couple of the sessions might be sold out. I think a couple of them might still have a handful of tickets, so there's still a chance there for fans to come live. I think in August, you know, it's going to be very much a, you know, feeling out experience here in July. And then I think, in August, we'll return. I think we're going to have some real tail stuff there to, as part of those tapings. And as far as like 100%, we want to get back out there and in front of fans in different cities. We're just in the process of organizing that, planning that, making sure we have everything lined up to go. But we 100% cannot wait to get out to all the markets out there and see wrestling fans around the country and around the world. I get hit up on a regular basis about the UK. Like there is not a week goes by that I don't get multiple messages, and people saying like, hey, like, when are you coming back to the UK? And we can't wait to get there. It was in the cards, pre-pandemic, and just as we start to slowly roll out of it, we want to get back out there in front of fans domestically and internationally. So stay tuned. I'll say this: tune in Saturday night, and maybe you'll get a little glimpse of what's to come with that. But yeah, it's this Saturday. It's Slammiversary. It kicks off fans returning to the Impact Zone for the pay-per-view, which I think is going to be unbelievable, and for the televisions, and then let's get rocking and rolling, and let's get back to wrestling as we know and love it in front of crowds, around the country and around the world.
There you go. I hope we see you sooner than later on the East Coast over here. But in the meantime, anybody listening, check out Slammiversary on Saturday night on pay-per-view. Scott, thanks very much for your time today.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.